Minister of Science and Technology, Mr. Yin Hejun. Minister Li Guoying of Water Resources, Minister Tang Renjian of Agriculture and Rural Areas, and Chairman Zhang Yuzhuo from SASAC. Now let's give the floor to the first minister, Mr. Yin Hejun from MOST. Please raise your questions.
请南端那位科技日报记者提问。
The government work report mentioned that we need to attach importance to high-quality development and will not be possible without technological innovation. So what are our new achievements in turn concerning technological innovation breakthroughs last year, and what are our new plans for this year? Thank you for the question. Friends from the press, good morning. First of all, on behalf of MOST, I would like to extend my gratitude to all of your interest and support for work of science and technology. High-quality development is an important feature for the new era, so it would not be possible without support of technology. General Secretary Xi Jinping attaches great importance to innovation-driven development. He stressed that technological innovation can lead this new development concept and break new grounds for development and build new momentum and strength. This is our most important demand for high-quality development. Last year, the CPC Central Committee has promoted this institutional reform and strengthened the party's leadership of S&T work. This coordination of technology has been strengthened, and major projects are launching faster. So our capacity has been strengthened. The cost of S&T in China saw new momentum. In terms of input, the R&D investment exceeds 3.3 trillion. Up by 8.1% compared with the previous year. Concerning the R&D investment, it reached 2.64%, among which 220 billion goes to basic research, up 9.3%. Concerning output, but in 2023, in terms of a newly signed technological contract, its total volume reached 950,000, with a total volume of 6.15 trillion, up by 28.6% compared to the previous year. The approved patent reached 921,000 pieces, up by 15.3% compared with the previous year. What about the results? Let's take a look at our achievements. In terms of quantum technology, concentrated circuit, AI, biomedicine, and new energy, we've made remarkable achievements of the original sources. Globally, the first fourth generation of nuclear power plant have been put into production. C919 jet are put into commercial
新能源汽
use.
车
The new energy
锂电池
vehicles and lithium batteries and PV components. These are what we call the three new innovation
增速非常
products are seeing major increase in terms of export. So technological
提升了我们国家
breakthrough
传统
not
产业的
only
竞争力
improve the competency for traditional
也会发展
industries,
新
but
的生产力
also break new
创造
grounds and consolidate the foundation for new productivity. Coming up,
科技部将
the
贯
MOST
彻
will
落实
continue
党中央
to
的决策部署
act according to the instructions of the Central Party Committee and
抓战略、抓改革、
take the major opportunities of strategy,
抓服务的
reform,
定位要求，
as well as services.
加强宏观统筹，
We will strengthen macro coordination, especially in terms of strategic
政策措施
planning, the policy support, major
科研
projects,
力量统筹，
technological
资源平台
forces, as well as resources and platforms and regional innovation.
我们想通过刷这
We
六大
will work on the above-mentioned 6 aspects so as to further enhance the innovation system.
我们想重点推进3方面的工
We
作，
will focus on the following 3 aspects of work. First,
加大科技攻关，
the
进一步聚
making
焦
of new technological breakthroughs, especially those that are most needed by the national strategy and development. We will also be implementing major
持续
technological
加强基础
projects,
研究，
strengthen basic research, consolidate
高质量发
high
展的
quality
科技内容，
development technological center. Second,
加强战略力量
we
建
will
设，
strengthen strategic
队伍建设，
building, that is team building.
充分发挥国家实验室
Stress the importance of key national laboratories and research institutes, as well as research universities and leading technological enterprises.
我们建设
They have their unique strengths to
协
play,
同高效的，
and their coordinated forces
从而打造
is key to the technological synergy and building of a strong technical nation.
3是
3.
继续深化科技体
Strengthen
制机制改革，
technological institutional
加
reform.
大改革力度，
Strengthen our
强
reform
化政
effort
策系统，
in order to
扩大开
build
放合作，
better policy support, open up cooperation opportunities,
更多的智慧
and pull wisdom and energy
为
together
高质量发展
so as to provide
不
better
断注入
services
新的
and
创新动
motivation
力。谢谢。
for new technological
好，请继续提问。
innovation.
好，
Thank
请
you.
这个
Next question.
这位中国青年报记者提问。
谢谢中国青年报
Thank
记
you.
者
With
提
China
问
News Daily.
部长您好，近年来很多重大科
In
研成果
recent
的产
years,
出
we
都
see
活跃
major
了一批青年
breakthroughs
科技人
and
才的身影。
technological
在支持青年人才
achievements
挑大
and
梁
would not
帮
be
助学
possible
上，科
without
技部有哪些
the
措
effort
施
of
和考虑？
cultivating of
谢谢。
young talent. So, what are
提到一个
our
非常好的
plan
问题，
in this regard? That is a very good question.
自古英雄出少年，
Young talents is key to the development of the country in the future.
重大
In
发现
history, many major breakthroughs and
都是年
inventions
轻人做出，
were made by young people.
所以我们是年轻人呀，
So,
最有
young people
创造能
are
力，
the most
也
innovative
最具有
and most vibrant force for
他们
technological
现在是
innovation.
我们国家
They are
推进高水平科技自立
key
自强的
to high
重要
quality
的生力
development and
来
self-reliant
就是建设
technological
科技
breakthroughs.
强国
And
的
in the future,
主力军。
they will become the major driving
年
force for building China into a
党中
strong
央、国务院
technical country.
出台专
Last
门
year,
的政
the
策
central
措施
government and state council issued special
科技
policies to
狠抓 贯彻落实，
encourage development in this regard and has been fully
我们
implemented,
重点推进了3方面的工作：
mainly in the following 3 regards. First,
大胆使用，在国家重大科技任务中
to
给年轻人提供机会，
provide opportunities in key national
比
projects.
如
For example,
在国家自然科学基金项目中，
under the support of the
80%的项目
National Natural
有
Scientific
45岁以
Foundation,
下的
80% of the projects are taken on by people under
在
the
国
age
家
of
重点
45.
研发计划项目中，
In key research
到目前已经
projects,
有
currently
1100多项
more than
是由40岁以下的
1,100 projects are taken on by young
前途
scientists under the age of
这个
45.
数量呀，已经
So
超
this
达到
number
了总数的20%。
accounts for 20% of the
再比如
total
在
number.
许多国家重大
In
科技
some
公司
key
到处看到
national
我们年轻的身影。
technological projects, we can
在北
also
斗导
see
航
the work of young talents
探月工
everywhere.
程
For example, in 北
中国
斗
田野
navigation, in the
这些
lunar
大公司
projects, and
许多项目团队
and so on. We can
它的
see a
集中
lot
研
of
刚过
teams
30岁
that are
许多
working under these
20
projects with an only
20
an average age of less
家庭
than
培养
30. Second, we need to
怎么
strengthen
培养的？
cultivation of talents.
以我长期在
I
科研
myself have
院
been
所
working
工作的
long
经历，
time in
我的
scientific
主题是
institutions.
对青年科技人才的培养，
I believe that the
要干早一
cultivation
点。
of young technical talent
宽松
should be moved
面
upfront
宽一点，
and
那
should
跟得紧一点，
be spread
帮
should
助
should
他们
be
呀尽早的烧起科
expanded.
研，培养兴趣，
Their interest
增强
is
自
very
信。
important, and we also need to boost their confidence
我们也出台
and
政策，
find new directions for them. We also encourage party committees
把1半以上的基础科研费用能
to
投到
allocate more than
35
half
岁以下的
of
年轻人
the funding,
在
the
重点
research
实验室的
funding
评
to
估中
people, to researchers
我们把
under the
对
age of 35.
青年人的
In
培
key
养
labs,
作为
we believe
重
that
要的
cultivation
考
of
核
young talents is a key factor for
三是
evaluation. 3.
做好服务，
We need to strengthen our services,
比如对从事基础前沿调
especially
查研
for
究，
those that are working on basic research and
我们
multidisciplinary
想
research.
办法提高
We need
稳
to
定支持的力度，
improve support
尽量
for
减
them
少一些考核的频次，
and reduce
这样让他们
numbers
呀
of
心旁
irrelevant or unnecessary tests or
沉下
evaluations so
心
that
来
they can
潜心自
put all of their work, their energy
我
into
们
actual
继
research.
续推进减负行动
We
计划，
also need to release the burdens
目的就是
for the
把这些
researchers
青年科技人才
so as
从
to
翻展的
unleash
事物中
their full
把它解放
potentials and relieve
说
them from the unnecessary
采购呢
chores.
报销
For
呢
example,
填
procurement or reimbursement, the filling of
保障
paperwork.
他们充足的
These
科研时间。
stand in the way
下一步，
of their research, I
科技
believe.
国家坚决
Coming
贯
up,
彻落实
MOST will continue
党
to
中央指示
act
精神
according to the instructions of the Central Party Committee
我们要把对青年科
and
技人才
that
的
of the
培
State
养
Council.
做一项
The
长期
cultivation
的
of young talent
战略性的
is
工
a
作，
long-term strategic task for us,
努力为他们呀成长、发展，
and we
创造
will
好的
be
一个培养
providing
环境，
better and favorable
在工作里
environment for them,
给年轻人提供机会，
provide more
搭建平
opportunities
台
and
营造环
platforms
境，
for them
在生活
to
上
grow and develop.
针对他们的艰难愁盼，
In
特别
life,
是
we must
行走在你
address
呢
their most
家庭
urgent
生活呢
demands, most
身心
urgent
健康的
needs,
等等
such
这些
as
重点关切
the lack of funding or
我们想
lack
汇
of
聚
family
各
support
方
and so on.
共同
So we are going to work
帮助
with all parties
解决他们
to
的
help
后
to
续
address
这
to
样
their
呢才能让年
best
轻人
to their most urgent needs.
真正的承下型。
Only in this way they
激
can
发他们的创造力，
put all of their energy
让他们
into
在
research
科技强国的建设中，这个伟大事业中施展才华。
so that they can
实现
pull their
共识，
wisdom together and
绽
unleash
放
their
青春。
fullest
谢谢大家。
potential. And that's my
好，
answer for
谢谢
this
易部长。
question. Thank you.
下面有请第二位部长，
Now
水
let's
利部
welcome the
李国英
second
部长。
minister, Minister Li Guoying from Ministry of Water Resources.
媒体朋友们，大家
Friends
好！
from media, good morning.
感谢大家长期以来
I would like to take this
对水利事业的
opportunity
关
to
心
say
和
a big
支持。
thank you for your long-term
好，
support
请
and
大家
care
提
of
问。
our work. Now the floor is
好
open for
请这边
questions.
穿黑色上衣的新华社记者提问。
谢谢主持人。
Thank you. Xinhua News Agency.
政府工作报告在
In the
回顾
government
过
work
去一年工作
report,
时
it
提到
revealed the
全国
work
水
in
利
last
建
year,
设投资大幅
mentioning
增长。
that investment
能否请您给
increase
大家介
in
绍一
water
下去年
conservancy
水利建
regard?
设投资
Would
的
you please
总规模、
introduce
资金
about the
投向，
scale and
给人
scope
民
of
群众带
investment
来了哪些
and
实实
what
在在的效益？
benefits
谢谢。
brought to the people?
在党中央、国务院高度重视
The CPC Central
全面
Committee
部署
and State Council touch great
和大力推
importance
动下，
to the work and the
有
water
关部门
resources.
机构、
The
协同
relevant
配合
departments, institutes
地方
have worked together,
及社会各方
the local governments
共同努力。
and also the other the
274
walks of
万
life
水利建设者
came together,
鼓足干劲儿，奋力拼
and more than
搏。
2 million people in the
2023
water
年
industry
我国水利建
devoted
设
ourselves
全面提速，
in upgrading, accelerating development of a water
完成
resources
水利建设
industry.
投资
We have
11996亿元，
finished around
比
the
上年
1.196
增长
trillion yuan,
10.1%，
up by 10.1%
创下了
compared to the same period
历
last
史
year,
最高纪录。
making a record high.
这11996亿元投
So
资，
talking about this
通过实施
1.196 trillion
41014个水利工程项
has
目完
turned
成，
into more than 40,000 water
对
conservancy
选取
projects. So
水利
that
工
is
程
where the
项目
capital went to.
我们牢牢
Talking
把
about the
握
selection of water conservancy
4项
projects,
原则。
we followed 4 principles
第一，
in selecting
贯
them.
彻落实
One,
习近平总书记节水优先、
implementing General Secretary
空
Xi's
间均衡、
requirements on
系统治理
the saving water resources,
发力治水思路。
balancing in the region allocation,
第二，
and developing water resources
遵循
while saving the
习近
resources
平
at the
总书
same
记
time. And second,
确有需要，生
the
态
General
安
Secretary
全
Xi mentioned if
可以
it's
持
needed,
续的
that's
重大
the
水利
project
工
should
程
be
论证原
sustainable.
则，
And he also put out
第
a
三，
principle
坚
on the
持
sustainable
问题导
development
向，
of water resources. The
聚
third,
焦人民
should
群
be
众最关心、
problem-oriented, which
最
means
直接、
this should be
最
directly
现实的
linked to people's
水灾害问
urgent
题、
needs,
水资源问
such
题、
as a
水
disaster,
生态问题、
a water quality
水
issues,
环境问题
water
这
environment,
4大水问题。
and pollution issues.
第四，
And fourth,
坚持系统观念，
and we also follow a
例如
systematic way of thinking.
流域整体，
And we think
以流
the a
域为单
basin
元，
as a one
统
big
筹
unit.
上下游、
So we bring upstream and
左右岸、
downstream,
干
and
支流、
left the a
统筹
left and right
出海
the a banks
与新
together, and that also should deal
生
with
产
the quality of the water as well
与
as
生
to
态
deal with the
保
pact
护与治理，
that at the same time we
当前
govern the
与
water
长远
resources, but also the time
现
that we better utilize the
经济
water
效益、
resources. And
社
we
会
not
效
only
益、
focus on interest
生
short
态
time,
效
but
益、
should also bear in mind the
安
long-term
全效益相统一。
interest that should be further developed
根据这
the water
4项原
resources,
则
but at the same time it should be
我
saved.
们深入论证，并选取
Based on
了
all these
4
principles,
大类
we
水利工程项目，
divided the projects into 4
第一类。
big categories. The first
防洪工程
category in
目
the
标是
industry of the
完善
flood protection.
长江、
So for the
黄河
Yellow River Basin,
淮河
the Yangtze
海
River,
河
Huaihe River,
珠江
Haihe River,
松
Pearl
花江
River, Songhua River,
辽河、
Liaohe River,
太湖
and
等
Taihu Lake,
大江、大河、大湖
which means
流
these
域
large-scale
防洪工程
the
体系
basin, lakes,
建设项目
rivers.
主要包括
The projects
水库、
include the
河道及
reservoir
堤防、
constructions,
蓄滞
building
洪区
of the canal, and
实施了
also the buffer zone for flooding,
083个项目，
and around more than
完
10,000
成水利投资
and 83 projects built under Category
3282
1,
亿元，
and around 382 billion
供水工程
RMB invested into
目标
this
是
category.
实现水
And
资
Category
源
2,
区域
as for
协
the
调
regional
平衡配置，
balanced development of water
建设项目
resources. Projects
主要
in this
包括
category include
重点水源工程、
the key water
跨流域、跨
resources,
区域、重点
projects,
引调水工程
the，key water
实施了
diverting projects
749个
across
项目，
regions, and more than
完成水利投资
10,049 projects involved,
5013
and around
亿元，
501
第三类
billion RMB invested in
灌溉
this
工程
regard. A third about the
目标是
irrigation.
扩大灌溉面积，
So the goal is to
增加粮食
enlarge the
产能。
area of irrigation in order to increase
项目
the output of grain.
主要包括
The projects mainly
新建
involved
大中型灌区，
to
对
build a medium
已
and large
建大
size
中型灌区
of the irrigating area
续
for
建
the
配套
existing one.
和
We will
现代化
build
改
the
造，
supporting
实
facilities
施了
or upgrading
5143
these existing
个项
ones,
目，
reaching the modernization
完
goal.
成水利投资。
And we finished around.
我想一下，这个灌溉项目比较多，比
So
较
there are
碎
many
大型、中型
projects involved because it's divided into small, medium, large size. In total, that's around
97亿元。
149.7 billion RMB invested in this regard.
水生
For
态保
Category 4, that's for
和
the water
治理
resources,
工程
the conservation and the
主要的目
treatment
标
projects.
是
The goal for Category 4
河流
projects
生命
to restore
重现
the life
流域
of
生机
water basin.
建设项目
The projects
主要包括
mainly
江
are
河
the
湖
ones
泊生态修复治
the
理、
bell environment
地下水超采
restoration,
综合治理、
the overall
水土流失
settlement
治
of
理
the underground water, as well
实施
as
了
the certification and the solution
39个
projects.
项目，
More than
完成水利投
839
资
projects involved,
2204
with
亿元。通过
200
这4大类工程，
billion
共
RMB
计
invested.
41014个水利工程项
So
目的实施，
41,014 projects
将进一
were
步
carried out,
提升水旱灾害
combining
防
all
御能
these
力，
categories.
水资
So that
源
helped to increase our capability
节约、集约利用能力
against the floods, better
水资源
utilizing the water
优化
resources
配置能
and
力，
gathering the water resources
江河
and
湖
better
泊
allocating them,
生态保护
as well
治理能
as
力，
the capability
从而
to
进一步
improve the
为
condition
国家防洪
of
安
the
全
water resources in rivers,
供水
basins,
安
and
全
lakes. By doing
粮
so,
食安全
we guarantee the
生
food
态安全
security,
提
environment
供有力
security.
的支撑和保障。谢谢。
Thank you.
好，请继续提问。好，请这位第一排中间这个穿黑衣服。
部长您好，总台 CGTN 记者提问。
With
我的问题是
CGTN, my
加
question
快
is
建设
to
国家
speed
水网
up
已被
the
纳入
international
2024
work
年
of
重
the
点工
water
作
resources
请问
be
建
top
设国
of
家
the
水网
agenda
有
in
什么好的规
2024.
划
What's the
目前的
consideration and the
实际进
plan
展如何
behind?
谢谢
What's the current progress? Thank you.
水是生存之本，
Water
生
is
产
the
之要，
base for life,
生态之
for
基。
production, for
特定的
ecological development.
地理和气候条件
A specific
决定了
geological
我们国
feature
家
and
基
weather
本水
condition
平一直是
decides
下汛
the condition in China, which means flooding in summer, droughts in winter, and the lack of water in north part, so rich resources in the southern part, which means an even distribution of water resources. And that's also means that the layout of water resources not match a production of industrial development. So water resources development allocation have become the showstopper for China further boost its development. In order to realize the modernization drive in China, as well as rural revitalization and the further development, we should think about a way to deal with the water resources allocation, think about how better supply the water resources, or to divert the water resources from different regions in order to underpin the high quality development. In order to reach that goal, we should speed up the water resources network building. General Secretary Xi Jinping, based on the China's modernization drive to realize the China's nation's sustainable development, he himself involved in planning, driving the project initiative of the building of water resources network. May 14th, the symposium of following up projects to carry forward the source water from the south located to the north. He mentioned that we should optimize the supply system of water resources and put a focus on the capability to against the flooding and to better utilize the storage of water resources and interconnectivity work among the water resources in order to build effective, green, intelligent, circular, unimpeded, and well-balanced and well-utilized water resources network. This can realize China to build a great country and advance national rejuvenation on all fronts through Chinese modernization. The Citizen Central Committee and State Council introduced the master plan in this regard. The overall plan gives us a top design at the time-wise. It can help us to do a counter-cyclical allocation and the spatial wise, and we can allocate the water from south to north and east to west. This can well guarantee that we reach the desired effect of the security development. Under this unified plan, the key projects basically involve first, we should build, that's the outline or the main part of the project. So the Yellow River, the Yangtze River, the Haihe River as the main. So the north-south, the medium, the middle west, the root of the projects. we should soon build up the backbone and the mainstream of the projects to establish the water resources network. And second, based on the production forces allocation as well as the environmental conservation requirements, we base on the natural rivers layout. We taken the rivers for the different purpose, such as the drainage or flooding, diverting. We build up the network in details. And third, we should break the obstacles in building the networking. For the connecting point of different water resources or canals, we build up the key water resources allocation projects in order to increase the control, supply, and allocation capability of water resources. The target year is set to be 2035, which means till 2035, we should establish a national water resources networking and should be with a full system, a safe, efficient, green, smart, and circular, and unimpeded. And that should be matched with the socialist country requirement. So far, the Ministry of Water Resources has detailed the requirements in this overall plan and also translate them into the actual projects and also bring that into the timeline, which year we will check every year. And for the projects, we also have the mechanism for communication. We will speed up our efforts to carry out the projects in a law-based and a well-managed manner and to finish building the national water resources network as scheduled. Thank you, Mr. Li.
Now let's give the floor to Minister Tang Renjian from Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Areas. Now the floor is open for questions.
北端靠南侧的那位人民日报记者提问。
谢谢主持人，人民日报社记者
Thank
提
you
问。
with Renmin Daily.
您好，唐部长。政府
Minister
工作报告指
Tang,
出，我国
according to
今
the
年粮食产
government
量
work
要
report,
继续保持在1.3万亿斤
the
以上。
grain
我国
production
粮食已连续
would
9年稳
be
定在
above
1.3万亿斤以上。
1.3 trillion
但
yuan.
社会
That's
上
ninth
也有一些
year
不同的
in a
声音。
row, but we
请
heard
问唐
some
部长，
different
我国
voices.
粮食生产供给形势怎么样？
So can you tell us more
接下来
about
将
the
采取
grain
哪些措施
supply
抓好今年的粮食
in
生
China
产？谢
and
谢。
what efforts will be made to ensure grain production of this year? Thank you so much for your interest in agriculture work, and thank you for that question concerning food security. I think food is the top priority for any country, and especially for China as such, with such a big population. Any kind of food insecurity would be unacceptable to us. General Secretary Xi Jinping has mentioned on multiple occasions that food security is key to the governing of the country. The government work report that we just heard by the Premier also stressed food security and related work arrangements. Last year, you might have noticed that we've undergone a lot of extreme natural disasters, weather conditions, the heavy rainfall and precipitation, in the summer, and in the northern part of China, and also drought at the western part of the country. However, with the strong leadership of the CPC Central Committee and the State Council, we have achieved this total grain production of 1.3 trillion, and is up by 11.7 billion jin, which also means that the per capita grain production is up. It's up by 7 kilograms, and is well above the food security level recognized by the world. So, because last year, several years, we have seen a lot of natural disasters and extreme weather conditions that threatened food production. But our grain production remained very stable for many years, and I fully understand your concern and question toward food security. But you are probably not very familiarized with the agricultural sector. But I want to say that the rural areas today are completely different from that of the past. I could tell you with full responsibility that our grain production number is sound, and it is true. It is reliable. The calculation of the number is not depending on the issued number by the localities, but by the investigation of very strict procedures with vast numbers of sampling by the NBS, and this number is only achieved after very careful accumulation of statistics and calculation, so will not be affected by any influence at the local level. This is completely done by NBS. And the second point, we heard this very popular saying that you will have 2 harvests, and then 1 common year and 1 year that will suffer some losses. But for that, I could also tell you that after generations of hard work by the CPC members, CPC's strong leadership over the agricultural work, especially after the 18th National Congress of the CPC, food production has been put onto the top priority of the country, and we are now we have very high level of capabilities in terms of food production, and our resilience of food production is developing by leaps and bounds compared to the previous years. Wheat, for example, 95% of the wheat harvest are done through mechanization, through machines. For a county to harvest the wheat in the past, it would take about half a month, but now it only takes 3 to 5 days to finish. Second, I think the irrigation condition has also been improved. In 2022, we undergone some severe drought in the western part of the region, but 95% of the wheat field are still having very abundant water resources for irrigation, so they will not be suffering any loss. In the 3 years of COVID and after the Ukraine crisis, have you ever heard that anyone complaining that they have difficulty buying food or buying grains? And have you ever heard anyone complaining that the local government needs to ask for some transfer and allocation of food from the central government? If there is a shortage of supply, it will be reflected at prices. At the global level, the rice price is up by 20%, but in China it's only up by 1%, so that's quite obvious. And fourth, I think with remote sensing and satellites, it is quite clear how many arable lands has been planted, and there's no possibility that you could play with the numbers here because the maps are just there. I think currently this is the important season of growth for wheat. And this budding rate is also looking very good, judging from the available statistics. In the future, we will continue to make sure that the arable land resources are fully used. We can make full use of the deserted land. The total arable land area should be stabilized at 1.7 billion. And also we need to increase the yield of food production. A lot of technologies can be integrated, including that concern the fields, the seed, the land, the fertilizers, and agricultural machines, and so on. And a lot of practical technologies can be applied in order to improve the yield. And some of the successful experiences in pilot projects can be expanded and can scale up. And the next is to improve the service at the service structure at the rural areas. We will mainly focus on the cooperatives at the rural areas, promote technological dissemination, cultivate talents and enterprises, so that the agricultural enterprises can become more full-fledged and lead the agricultural production, especially for the small households. Fourth, we will also be strengthening the full mechanisms by the central government. First is to the insurance of the income of the smallholder farmers, as well as the insurances. We will continue to improve the lowest procurement price for wheat. And concerning the insurance, it is also mentioned in the government work report by the Premier. And we will also be improving the construction standard for high-quality field. And we will also be strengthening the infrastructure at the main production zone. We will also be releasing important studies concerning this regard. Last but not least, we also need to guard against possible extreme weather conditions and natural disasters. In the southern part of China, we experienced some freezing weather conditions, I think, in the first 2 months. But that might affect the harvest of rapeseed, but it's good news for winter wheat in the north. We will continue to strengthen our effort in this regard. Next question. Thank you. With the Farmers Daily, this is the 4th year after the winning of the poverty alleviation scheme, and how do we consolidate the results for poverty alleviation, and how do we push for the full rejuvenation at the rural area. The consolidation of poverty alleviation to guard against returning to poverty is the second bottom line that is raised by the central government. So this expansion for poverty alleviation effort should be connected with the rejuvenation of rural areas, and it's also one of the biggest task that is issued by the central government and the Party Central Committee. We will continue with our effort, good efforts of last 3 years, and step up efforts in key areas. And we have prevented this scale-up situation of returning to poverty. Here are some numbers. Last year, in the poverty alleviated areas, all of the 800 counties, their disposable income per capita has reached 13,000 yuan, exceeds 30,000 yuan. And their growth rate of income is faster than the national average. And for the migrant worker, the number has remained at 30 million people. That is to say, 80% of their income comes from their work elsewhere. So with such an income, their family income can be ensured. And third, in each county, they have 2 to 3 featured industries. 90% of the poverty alleviated households are now making profit throughout these key projects. So with our efforts in the past 2 to 3 years, we have already established this early detection, early assistance, and risk funding system for consolidation of poverty alleviation effort. Coming up, we will further connect poverty alleviation effort with that of rural areas rejuvenation. In order to do that, we need to expand the scope for rural areas rejuvenation. This is an historical transformation for agricultural work, and we will act according to the instructions of the #1 document, as well as the report of the 20th National Congress of the CPC, as well as the government work report we just heard. And 20 years ago, when General Secretary was working in Zhejiang province, he initiated a special project concerning rural development. Behind this project, a lot of the concepts can be applied to our work today. A lot of the concept and methods and methodologies can be used today, and they are proven to be useful in all aspects and links of rural rejuvenation. In the past year, we heard many important instructions and remarks made by the General Secretary, and I venture to sum them up in the following points. First of all, we must stand clear that farmers comes first, and their interest is our top priority. We're not doing this for anyone else. We're not doing this for any officials. So any decision must be made according to the real needs and demands of the farmers. You cannot just make random decisions or falls into formalities. For example, this kind of very abrupt decision to stop emission or some kind of unnecessary campaigns. I think all decisions must be made based on the interests of the farmers. That is our biggest task. In this way, we can improve this internal driving force in the rural areas. Second, we need to focus on the key points. That is, quality comes first, and effectiveness comes first, and efficacy comes first. I think those are the instructions made by President Xi Jinping in the reformation of rural toilets several years ago, and they can still be applied today. And three, in terms of the implementation of the targets, we need to do field inspection, and in General Secretary's inspection in Sichuan, he reiterated that we need to address to the pinpoint, the most needed point by the farmers. And we must see to it that all of the concerns, top concerns of the farmers must be addressed so as to improve their sense of gaining and sense of happiness.
Thank you. Let's welcome the chairman, Zhang Yuzhuo from State-Owned Assets Supervision Administrative Commission. Good morning. Now the floor is open for questions.
请北端中间那位黄色上衣的记者提问。
谢谢主持人。
Thank you.
经济日报记者提问。
Economic Daily.
中央经济工作会议提
And
出，
the Central Economic Work Conference is mentioned that this year we should focus on the progress while maintaining stability through progress, establishing the new before abolishing the old. So how the SOE and to promote the China's economic development in a high quality manner. Thank you for your question. I would like to express my gratitude for your long-term support and care of the work. This morning, Premier Li Qiang delivered the government work report. And we feel that the report is very inspiring and also charting a clear course for us. In terms of the work for SASAC, there are quite rich content, including we need to further deepen the reform of the state-owned enterprises, better make the layout of SASAC, and also should do a good job in strengthening the primary responsibility and work of the enterprises to increase their competitive advantages, and also to build world-class enterprises, as well as to build a modernized industries. But at the center, that should be promote high-quality development. For state-owned enterprises, this is also top of our agenda to realize the high-quality development. Let me to elaborate how we can reach this goal. So first, there should be high-level coordination and synergy, and second, improve the quality of work, and third, to expand appropriately in quantity. So let me first talk about quantity. For the SOEs, they made a good performance, realizing the 40 trillion revenue, and the profit is around 2.6 trillion yuan, realizing a stable increase. In terms of investment, we fully leveraged investment last year, around the 6.2 trillion RMB invested, among which 5.09 trillion is the fixed asset investment, accounting for 10% of the total fixed assets number in China. The growth rate actually quite fast. The growth rate of the fixed asset investment increased by 11.2%. The average number around 3%, which means it's around 8.4% faster than the average growth number of the fixed asset investment. So that's also can be translated into the bigger contribution to China's development and driving a 10 trillion investment. So that's the results in last year, and we also seen a good momentum for the first 2 months this year, especially happened in the key sectors. The electricity they sold increased by 13%, the automobile increased by 15%, and water shipping increased by 17%. For shipment and also the aviation logistics, the growth rate reached 59%. All these numbers demonstrate that a good recovery of China's economy and also give us every reason to believe that we can reach the goal set out by the government this year. So that's the quantity. And what about the quality? In order to realize high quality development, we should improve and enhance the core competitive advantage of SOEs and their primary function. So first, we should improve the efficiency across the board in terms of the capitals, in terms of productivity, and the output driven by technology. So we should build the value investment, whereby invest all this amount of money, you should get a better yield. So for some enterprises, previously they pursue that top 500 ranking, but that ranking is based on the revenue or their sales number. Right now, what we should look at, we should increase the competitiveness and the strengths. And for the state-owned enterprises, different from private enterprises, for them, they shouldered the responsibility to do more good job and benefit people. So there are 3 jobs mentioned by the country. So for the things that are important to the lifeline of the country, that should be weighted more, the efforts of the SOE, and for the frontier and the new industries, that should be all our focus. Our goal is that for these important areas, I would like to see additional 1 percentage point increase. So that will increase the efficiency of the state-owned enterprises as well as their primary functions. Third, talking about a synergy, high-level coordination. SOEs should further coordinate with all other types of businesses. We procured resources out of the system around the 13 trillions, driving the whole industry, including upstream, downstream, large, medium, and small size, around 200. And recently, we also initiated a action to creating the synergy among all the forms and types of businesses. So far, we have built partnership with 5,000 enterprises. And this campaign will be our long-term projects, and we will continue to release an industrial synergy projects, names in this project, names in this list involved in this project, So for us, we need to realize a high-level coordination in order to realize a high-quality development. So we should focus on the coordination, the increase the quality, as well as expand the quantity. That should also be supported by favorable policies, which means we should encourage the enterprises to be bold, to make innovation, to break the institutional or policy obstacles and hindering high-quality development. So we talk about new energy vehicles. The big names of SOEs, they didn't develop that fast compared to Tesla or BYD. We also adjusted the policies for the 3 automobile enterprises owned by the country, and we also have the separate evaluation for them. If we look at the world, that's the combustion fueled the vehicles still enjoy advantages. So for the same company at the very beginning, they invest a lot in the new energy vehicles. But if you invest, or let's say if you have the KPI as the same, then it's really hard for them to reach your KPI standards. So that is why we separate the KPI on new energy vehicles. We look at their market shares, we look at their technologies, we also look at their future development potentials. In terms of AI, for each sector, we should speed up efforts in developing AI. But we also have seen the obstacles in further promoting AI. Let's talk about data sharing. We talk about the sharing of the infrastructure construction related to data. So you build your data center, I build my data center. Right now, we should mobilize all these resources all together to realize the high-level coordination in order to reach the high-quality development goal. Thank you. Next question, please.
第一排穿米色上衣的女记者。
谢谢主持人。南方都市报恩视频记者提问：新质生产力是今年全国两会的热词。
The new quality productive forces are the debated the awards this year. I would like to ask for SciSec how the state-owned enterprises to strengthen the new mold or new business, or how they develop the new quality productive forces. Thank you for your question. I read in details regarding to build up the modernize the industry chains, as well as cultivating new quality productive forces. It mentioned the first industrial change. It mentioned about industrial upgrading, especially the strategic emerging industry. And third is talk about the digital innovation. So that's what a premier delivered in the government report. So we talk about this, the result from General Secretary Xi's thinking, the economic development. So the new quality productive forces means that we should put innovation at the front and center place. So quality and innovation. So how SOEs realize all these? So first, you need to think about your sources of technology. Second, the upgrading, which means the technological upgrading. And the third keyword about the ecosystem. So technologies should come from somewhere. So for the SOEs in the recent years, is redoubled its efforts to keep investing. And 3.3 trillion invested. Among that, 1.6 trillion invested by SOEs, nearly 1/3 of that amount of money contributed by SOE. So for the SOEs, we invested around 10.6%, and compared to the average number, just 2%. So you could see that the state-owned enterprise invested a lot. and technological development, and mentioned about the homemade airliner, the domestically developed the cruise. We talk about the air engine, the force, the generation of the plant, power plant. So all these actually the result of many years' efforts. And right now, we should expand investment in homemade innovation. So we talk about that the homemade innovation, which means we should first cover the marvel innovation, technology breakthroughs that should be made by state-owned enterprises. And we talk about in other technology field, we also seen that the room for further improvement for the applied technology took up around 6%. That's far from enough. We also encourage the SOEs to invest more in applied basic research and basic research, especially with the purpose-driven research. So we also should stay open, be open-minded about the technological resources. So first you scan the international networking. You should be integrated into the networking of the technology innovation. We have around 330 centers worldwide opened by the SOEs, and we should also work with the leading enterprises, universities, and institutes to build up the partnership. So far, around 270 enterprises have built up a cooperation with state-owned enterprises. By doing so, we can make breakthroughs in key technologies and core fields. So we have the technology resources, and second, we need to think about how we can better upgrade the industries. For SOEs, we have made a lot of presence in the industries with strengths, and right now we need to use new technologies to upgrade the traditional ones in order to make them more greener and low carbon development. Right now we have more than 100 smart plants. And some SOEs also work with Huawei to make the well exploration of coals actually can be conducted by the robots. So that can be done in the automotive way. So that's safe and also with a high efficiency. And we talk about that AI Plus initiative. We talk about generated AI should be embedded into different industries, and a large language model should to solve that the vertical industrial problems as well as problems related to different sectors. So talk about that the emerging industries as well as future-oriented futures that should be top of our agenda. So if you look at the proportion, that's around 13% of the emerging industries. For the SOEs, for the emerging strategic enterprises, we should invest more. Last year, the number increased by 32.1%. Our goal is by year 2025, our investment in strategic emerging industries should account for 35%. So we talk about that we should further invest or weight more capital to the quantum computing, and that should make our presence as early as possible. And we should cultivate the ecosystem. So this ecosystem should rely on everyone involved in the sector. So SOEs should be open-minded and to get rid of the outdated way of thinking. Previously, they focused more on the short-term investment with short-term return for a quick and fast return of investment. But right now, we make it very clear to SOEs that we should invest a lot in the future-oriented sectors. And we talk about our workers. They are the talents to realize everything, and also we talk about that resources we own also can enable us to realizing our goals. So we should rely on personnel of SOEs. Right now we have around 1.2 million the personnel in SOEs. A lot of the innovators. We should promote the spirit of the scientists and entrepreneurs. We should encourage our science and technological practitioners to challenge themselves, to overcome the most difficult challenges with our concrete efforts. And we will contribute to the drive to build a great country. Thank you. And this is the end of the morning session of Minister Corridor. And please stay tuned. On the March 8th, we'll have our Minister's Corridor. Please stay tuned. Thank you.